Illinois' defensive tackle, Jer'zhan Newton, is an absolute superstar. He is the most disruptive player in the 2024 NFL draft class. And today we're going to talk about him and we're going to watch his tape. I think with Newton, one of the things that sticks out right away is the guy has very, very active hands. So you'll see him on one play swipe. On the next play, he'll double hand swipe. On the third play, he'll cross chop. On the fourth play, he'll, rip and he'll break the contact. The guy knows how to use his hands, and I think that's the one thing that's going to stick out right away. And it's actually the one reason why I think he's going to translate into a really, really good defensive tackle. I think what Newton showed on tape is special, specifically with the hands. But it's not just the hands. The guy has great movement skills, and you'll see all of this come together as we put the tape on here in a second. But for a defensive tackle, Jer'zhan Newton does a really good job with his bend. He does a really nice job being able to change direction. He'll be able to spin. And a part of that is because he has great movement skills. Most defensive tackles don't move very well, right? I think that's just kind of a fact. I think the best defensive tackles, the Aaron Donalds, the Chris Jones, the Jalen Carters, these guys can move very, very well. And I think with Newton, that's the one thing that sticks out. He has great hands and he can move very, very well. And it translates him being able to beat a lot of different guards, different centers, even tackles sometimes can't match the strength, if they're on the quicker side. And I think Newton's going to be a phenomenal football player because of those two things. But what he also does, and I think this is going to really get into his run defense, is he plays with great leverage. He's oftentimes firing out low. He's oftentimes locking in with guys and standing guys wide up. And he's strong as well at the point of attack. And to me, you put all of those things together, this guy's going to be a phenomenal football player. Of course, with that being stated, let's just go ahead and get right into his tape. Alrighty guys, let's just go ahead and get right into it with this first play here. You're going to see Newton lined up in the long three technique, and he's going to be in a one-on-one against the right guard, and he's going to beat him right away. Now, there's a couple things to take away from this play that to me is impressive as hell, right? First and foremost, from a quarterback's perspective, this is a one-step drop. So within that, if it's a one-step drop, there's no defensive lineman that should be getting this close to a quarterback on a one-step drop. So right away, you can see how fast Newton is able to get to the quarterback. But when you actually look at the defense tackle and what he kind of does here as he gets out of his stance, to me it's impressive because D tackles should not be moving like this. Right, this movement right here by this defensive tackle is special as hell. Right out of his stance, Newton's going to get out. He's going to utilize what is the hezzy move, which is that fake little shuffle he does right there. Maybe he's going to go left, maybe he's going to go right. Referred to as a hezzy move. And then he's going to jump off the left foot, jump to the inside of the right guard. And at the same time, he's going to chop with the right hand. So you can see his right hand grab onto the left hand of that offensive lineman right there. And he's going to use that to gain the leverage here. And then he's going to get the left hand and he's going to rip the guard as he's already in position to get to the quarterback. And you can see this is just a really, really nice overall rep by Newton to be able to get to the quarterback. Let's get into the next play. Check this play out here. Once again, Newton's going to do a really, really nice job against the left guard of Purdue. On this one, you can see he's going to once again get to the quarterback. He's going to generate a little bit of pressure. And once again, it's just a really nice move by Newton. So as Newton gets out of his stance, he's going to square up the guard as he takes like this wide pass rush. And look at him attack the left hand here of the guard. And the guard basically is going to just get beat right away. Once again, it's the pass rush technique. It's the hand-to-hand combat that Newton's utilizing to win. The right hand is going to pull the guard forward, and then the left hand's going to just kind of come right over the top. And that right there is how fast Newton can win. Right? That's how fast Newton can get back there and disrupt the entire play. Alright guys, final play here where it comes to his pass rush. You're going to see Newton once again do a great job beating the left guard here. He's going to beat him at the point of attack. And once again, he's going to generate pressure. And this one, he's going to get a hit to the quarterback. This is what Newton brings to an NFL team. He pretty much can win at the point of attack. Right? It's this quick when he's able to beat someone. So on this one, the left guard's going to quick set this. He's going to get right out of his stance. He's going to throw a right punch directly at Newton. And the right punch is not going to work of this left guard. So he's going to throw the right punch. Newton's going to actually counter that with the left hand. And with the left hand, as he chops that right hand of the guard, and then he's going to rip with his right arm. And you'll see that as he rips with the right arm, he's going to use that right arm. And you'll see that as the right arm's underneath the guard, he's going to lift his right arm upwards. And this is how you properly rip. You're going to break the contact. So the right arm right there, look at him really push that up right there. That right there is exactly how you want to break the contact that a guard has on you. right? So the left hand initially out of his stance is going to swat the right guard's right hand. Then with the right hand of Newton, he's going to rip upwards and he's going to really push that arm up. And that's going to break the contact of this guard. And that's going to allow Newton to get to the quarterback. It's a very impressive rep once again. So the one thing with Newton that you have to keep in mind is he's a very reactionary player. Now I want to pause this video really quickly. If you're enjoying this content, we have a lot more videos like this, but in much longer forms over on the Patreon. I'm going to put a link down in the comments below. There's a chance that we will not be posting college content as we go, into this draft cycle, at least here on YouTube, because YouTube really doesn't want you posting college content. But we will be posting videos on Patreon. So if you guys want to check out my Patreon just for a couple dollars a month, you guys will not only support the YouTube channel, but you guys will support me, which I, of course, always appreciate. Let's get right back into the video. So the one thing with Newton that you have to keep in mind is he's a very reactionary player. This is a really good example of that. I'm going to show you guys one more play after this to kind of back that up. Very, very reactionary. So this one's an interesting play because Newton's lined up in the 4-eye technique. The tackle here has a down block here on Newton. He needs to seal this guy off because the guard's going to pull out in front. Assuming the guard either pushes this guy outwards or if this guy takes the inside, the guard at that point can just seal him outwards. You got a block here. The running back should have the lane to the outside, but it's actually not going to work because what's going to end up happening is Newton is going to get off the block. And he's going to recognize this super quickly, that the right guard here is pulling to the left of your screen. And as soon as he recognizes that, he's going to start to go towards that same side. He understands what's about to happen with the right tackle. Look at him defeat this down block of the tackle, gets right around it, gets off the block. And from this point, the entire play is ruined, right? Because what ended up happening on this play is if this guy actually makes the block on Newton, you see the block here. Number 8's can also get down blocked, as you'll see right there. And what that means is because the blocks are all made here, the guard can technically kick out this cornerback. And this would be a possible touchdown depending on wherever the safety's at. But because Newton ends up winning, there's no cutback lane for this running back. So the cornerback, number 7, is going to play the outside because that's what you're taught as a cornerback. Newton's going to come underneath this because he defeats his block. And for the running back, there's nowhere to go, right? Again, had Newton actually got blocked, this play had the chance to possibly pop. So that's a great job right there once again by the D tackle. Alright guys, this is the final play I want to show you. The right tackle here has a reach block on Newton. He has to get in front of this guy. At the same time, the D tackle has to hold the B gap. He cannot allow the reach to happen. So basically on this one, the right tackle is trying to defeat Newton and Newton is trying to stop him from getting in front of him. That's not always the case, right? Sometimes a guy may have a backside gap and the tackle may have an inside reach and it kind of just works out where both guys end up just allowing one another to do their job. On this one, that's not the case. Newton has to hold off the right tackle from reaching him. This is an inside zone here, so it's very, very important that Newton does not allow the reach because what could ultimately happen is if this guy gets to the inside here of Newton, you're going to get a double team or the guard's going to get up to the linebacker in this case because the guy's going to slant to the left. What would end up happening is you'd have a wall here, you'd have a wall here, and the running back would be able to hit this into this gap. So it's very, very important that Newton gets over to the left side of that tackle. He stays within the B gap. He's going to do a phenomenal job keeping himself in that B gap. So when the running back gets this football, there's nothing to the inside here. So the running back has a couple of choices. You can either try to hit this to the left, you can try hitting it inside, or he's going to have to hit it back to the right. And because of the run fits here and the containment on the outside, there's going to be nowhere for the running back to go. So this play right here ends up getting shut down because Newton does a really, really good job being able to hold off the gap. Alrighty guys, let's go ahead and wrap the video up here. Obviously, Newton's a very, very good football player, right? I don't think there's any questions about it. He's going to be one of the, top 15 players picked. He can go as high as like top 7. Of course, it'll depend on how many quarterbacks eventually get taken. But every major statistical category, this guy dominates in. Sacks, most in college football among Power 5 teams. 7 quarterback hits, most in college football among the Power 5 teams. 32 run stops, which is 4th. So still very, very good. The guy, in my opinion, is going to be phenomenal. Now, there are some concerns that some people have, and we'll end the video just kind of talking to those things through. I think the biggest concern people are going to have is his size. He's 6'2", so he's not He's not super tall, but you know, some people are also speculating he's not 6'2". Some people are speculating he may be 6 feet. I don't know if that's fact. You know, I've seen these reports that are kind of coming out. We'll see at the combine exactly what he measures in at. But even his height, you know, you can probably get over that. But some people do talk about his arm length, and people believe that the arm length could be the biggest indicator of him maybe not having success. There was a defensive tackle that came out of Michigan years back named Maurice Hurst. He's currently playing with the Cleveland Browns. Really, really good pass rushing defensive tackle. The guy did not have great arm length. And I think with Newton, some people have kind of compared him with Hurst, and it took Hurst a little bit longer to really catch on. And Hurst, keep in mind, was, I believe, a 5th round pick. If Newton's going to go in the top 15, you know, and he has that arm length issue possibly, will he be able to get off blocks in the NFL, right? Keeping in mind, he played at Illinois, so he didn't play a lot of NFL caliber offensive linemen, right? So right away, people are going to have question marks against that. He's also 295 pounds, so some people are going to put him on the lighter side. Some people are also going to say, will he be able to anchor against the run? Will he be able to handle double team blocks? And that's all great questions, right? You can watch his tape and you can see him having success against double teams, and you can see him being able to anchor down against offensive linemen. But a lot of those guys that he's doing that against are also not NFL caliber players. Now, you could pick out certain games where he does play guys that'll be in the NFL. And to me, it's good enough, right? I don't feel like, hey, this guy's struggling or anything like that. So I don't think it's a big issue, but some people do have issues with his size from a weight perspective, the height perspective, and of course the arm length perspective. So I think the NFL Combine is going to be it's going to be an interesting thing to see if this guy either crushes it or if he doesn't. We'll see what ends up happening, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys next time with another video.